Welcome to Connect, powered by the Fulton County Department of Senior Services. I'm your host, Dr. Pamela Rochelle. This show connects you to information, services, and programs that support healthy aging. Not only is healthy aging a priority of Fulton County government and the Department of Senior Services, it is the guide by which we provide the most relevant resources to assist our aging population to remain independent, healthy, and active. So let me pose a few questions. Are you emotionally or physically overwhelmed as a result of caring for a loved one? Is your spouse or parent experiencing memory loss or combativeness? Or perhaps you are providing long-distance care for someone you love. If you answered yes to any of these questions, then today's show is just for you. Caregiving is the act of providing unpaid assistance and support to family members or friends who have physical, psychological, or developmental needs. Caring for others generally takes on three forms: instrumental care, emotional, or informational caregiving. Today's episode will address the emotional and informational components of caregiving, and we will provide you with resources available to caregivers here in Fulton County. And later, you'll also hear from team members of the Adult Day Care program and learn techniques that can assist you along your caregiving journey. So stay tuned. We're back and glad to have you with us today on Connect, powered by the Fulton County Department of Senior Services. I'm your host, Dr. Pamela Rochelle. According to Pew Research, adults aged 45 to 64 are most likely to be caregivers. In fact, about a quarter of adults ages 45 to 64 cares for an aging adult. The Alzheimer's Association reports that there were over 500,000 caregivers in the state of Georgia in 2015. For the most part, caregivers are in it for the long haul. Nearly 57% of caregivers have been in their role for more than 3 years. Even though caregiving is nationally recognized as an observance each November, many of you know that caregiving is a 24-hour-a-day, 7-day-a-week job. Two key programs in our Department of Senior Services provide support and respite for the caregiver. This program includes neighborhood senior centers and the Adult Day program. Joining me today is Patronar James, Adult Day Program Coordinator at the Harriet G. Darnell facility. Ms. James is here to share helpful tips on caregiving. Welcome to the show, Ms. James.
Thank you for having me.
So, can you please explain what the term respite really means?
Respite is an opportunity for caregivers to take a break, to remove themselves from the idea of caregiving, from the act of caregiving, so that they can hopefully take care of themselves, revitalize and rejuvenate themselves. It also allows their loved ones to participate in activities that may be enjoyable to them.
So with that explanation, I'm sure you have piqued the interest of some of our viewers as they consider adult daycare as a possible option. So can you please tell us more about the Fulton County Adult Day Care program and what a caregiver can expect when their loved one participates?
The Fulton County Adult Day programs operate off of a model that provides socialization, nutrition, and core fitness. Socialization involves all of the activities that we participate in. These include field trips, various classes. The nutrition component is very important because we want to make sure that they are remembering to eat and that they're having nutritious meals. And then lastly is the core fitness component. We know that active minds and active bodies will help our seniors to maintain an age in place. And so our programs offer the opportunity for all three of these things to take place in a safe and healthy environment.
So you've talked about the three components, and I'm sure as the program coordinator, you must always stay abreast of the latest techniques and research. How do you do that as the program coordinator, staying up on the latest information related to caregiving?
Well, the Rosalind Carter Caregiver Institute is really at the forefront of caregiving. I am involved in a lot of activities with that organization. I receive the emailings. The Alzheimer's Association is another important entity in the state of Georgia and throughout the nation that keeps us abreast of what's going on with caregiving and the services that are out there. And also there are individual groups and programs that continue to allow us to educate ourselves and empower us to go out and help others regarding caregiving.
So what would be one of the best tips from your experience as a program coordinator and seeing families and caregivers over the years? What would be your number one tip for them?
My number one tip is that caregivers educate themselves. When they go to the doctors, yes, the doctors are the experts, but caregivers have to become experts on diagnoses, medication, things of that nature. They also have to educate themselves on the resources that are out in the community, whether it be respite, whether it be caregiver support groups, even long-term placements. People have to educate themselves on the services and resources that are available to them. And once they educate themselves, then they can become empowered to take care of their loved ones and also take care of themselves. So I think that would be the biggest tip for caregivers, education.
So what are your final thoughts about the Adult Day program and caregiving in Fulton County?
Caregiving in Fulton County is one of the most progressive entities that provides caregiving in the state of Georgia. Recently, I attended a Caregivers Summit, and people from all over the nation were there. And to be able to sit in a room with individuals that did not have some of the programs and services that we had, it was empowering to me to be able to share that with people from the West Coast, the North, the Midwest. And so I think that's the biggest piece for me, that caregiving piece, and it is so profound in this area, and we may not realize it, but when others come and we tell them what they're doing, we are really on the cutting edge of caregiving.
Well, thank you so much for joining me today and for sharing all of that very useful information about caregivers and how we are helping them here in Fulton County.
Thank you.
For more information on how to connect with the Adult Day program, call our Star line at 404-613-6000. Coming up, useful tips for caregivers. So don't go away. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Connect, powered by the Fulton County Department of Senior Services. I'm Dr. Rochelle. So how can a caregiver remain independent, healthy, and active while caring for a loved one? Often, the caregiving experience results in chronic stress, which can comprise a caregiver's physical and psychological health. Joining us today is Robin Washington, Senior Advisor and Aging Expert with Paisley Bridges. Welcome to the show, Ms. Washington.
Thank you.
Can you please tell us about your services and why you are interested in helping caregivers?
Yes, well, my services, we provide caregivers assistance with their aging loved ones, and that can be their mom, dad, believe it or not, even a spouse. And so what we do is we try to take the stress out of a situation where they don't know what to do with the aging loved one that needs assistance with bathing, dressing, eating, grooming, even walking. So we provide that service complimentary to them as they need it in a crisis. And we're seeing a lot of folks waiting until the last minute to get that care because they don't know. You know, no one was given a brochure or pamphlet on this is what you do with your aging loved one. So we're there to assist in the aging process.
And I've talked today about the emotional part of caregiving, and you conduct a session for caregivers called Guilt versus Regret, and perhaps these are recurring emotions that are experienced by caregivers. Can you tell us a little bit more about this session?
Yes, so what we're dealing with here is a lot of guilt. And then how I get the caregiver, the adult child, to see the big picture is, okay, would you rather live with guilt or would you rather live with regret? So guilt is a emotion of feeling, and it may not even be factual. So when Mom was 50, she said, never, move me into a senior living community, or never allow anybody to come in here and feed me pureed foods or what have you at 50, because at 50, none of us want to think about that. So then you have the adult child going off, well, when Mom was 50, she didn't want this, so I'm going to wait. And at this point, Mom's not walking, so Mom needs some type of assistance because she's a fall risk. So then the regret will come in if you did not give Mom the help and care and assistance that she needed, and Mom takes another fall, because the falls aren't even reported until, the 5th or 6th fall, or even 10th, and something very detrimental happened. That regret is going to be heavier than just a little guilt on actually getting them the help that they need.
So you talked about that emotional piece. Mm-hmm. Can you also talk a bit more about mental and some of the physical implications of caregiving?
Yeah, so I was an executive director over memory care in 2015, and there was an adult child who could not make a decision to move her mom into the community and could not afford to pay, for a home care company to come in, because they're much more expensive when you're looking at 24/7 care. So after dealing with Mom at home, Mom was very combative, had some memory issues, dementia. She would, hit the family members. The daughter actually had a stroke. So I see people actually have a stroke, health go downhill because it's a lot of stress and worries. Like, I have a daughter in college, so I'm an adult child. I'm the power of attorney of my grandmother. So with me, working with my grandmother, finding her care, and then putting my daughter in school, and then I have another child, and, I have this life, that I'm trying to live. It is very, very stressful, and people aren't realizing the amount of stress that they're wearing on their shoulders until they wind up in a hospital. So it's very serious.
So you sound as if you professionally are involved with caregiving. You have personal caregiving responsibilities. So what is one thing that you want our caregivers that are viewing today to walk away with? What piece of information or advice would you give them?
To reach out, to ask for help. If they need to call another family member just for respite, I need to get away for 6 hours and just really clear my head, go to the gym. Self-care is going to really be what help get these caregivers to the next day. They can't be ashamed, cannot feel that guilt. They have to call on an agency, a hotline, just ask questions, to get that help, get the answers.
Well, thank you so much for joining me today. You really have shared a lot of great information, really encouraging caregivers not to go it alone and to reach out for help. Thank you again for joining us.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me.
Are you an employee of Fulton County government and a caregiver? If so, we have a wonderful program for you, Caregivers in the Workplace.
The Caregivers in the Workshop program is for Fulton County employees who are actually caregivers. And the whole purpose for that is for them to get resources, share their stories. It's something that they might have done for their caregiver might work for somebody else. So we're going to talk about stuff like Medicare, Medicaid, the SOURCE program, CCSP, and then our own Starline program that provides in-home services for seniors. We have people coming to work every day, they're taking care of their loved ones, and they're stressed out. So I felt like, and my department felt like, that we needed a support group for our Fulton County employees.
I'm excited about initiatives such as this. I think Fulton County is definitely on the right track to show that we care for our employees and that we are going to make sure that they can deal with the stressors related to caregiving and connect them to needed resources.
I myself am a caregiver, have been since 2007 for my parents. I'm currently a caregiver at this point now, and so this program has been very beneficial to me in providing the support that's needed, and sometimes you just don't realize that you actually need that support. So this has been very encouraging for me. I'm glad to see that Fulton County is standing up to their motto, because we care, we serve, not just to the citizens, but to their employees as well.
So remember, if you are an employee of Fulton County government and a caregiver, join us every month at Caregivers in the Workplace. For more information or location, Call the Star Line at 404-613-6000.
Thank you again for sharing your time with us today. At the Department of Senior Services, we believe it is important for caregivers to remain healthy as they support and care for their loved ones. We hope that today's show provided you with useful tips and programs, such as our adult daycare program, that can assist you on your caregiving journey. It is our mission to improve the quality of life for older adults through the development and coordination of programs and supportive services that encourage independence and enhances overall well-being for seniors, their caregivers, and the community we serve. We welcome your feedback and the opportunity to speak with you further about these and other services. For more information about our programs at the department, please call us at 404-613-6000 or email us at seniorservices@fultoncountyga.gov. You can also follow us on Twitter at FultonInfo. Thank you for watching. We'll see you next time on Connect, powered by the Fulton County Department of Senior Services.